Hey fellow Nevillers, here we are again with another personal share of some Neville wisdom. Today I've got my nose up in the power of awareness. I do moderating in another Neville Goddard mystic teaching group. I may leave the link down there for you guys and in my bio. And somebody asked about how much effort they're putting into their wish fulfilled. If you've any exposure to Neville's works, you'll know it's just a mere assumption. There's no effort required. It's all psychological, it's all mental. So let's dive into this chapter. I'll read it to you and share some commentary along the way. As Neville delightfully tells us up in this chapter, our wish fulfilled, seeing it in imagination, is merely seeing with the eye of God. So let's see what he elaborates further on, my lovelies. He says, the principle of least action governs everything in physics, from the path of a planet to the path of a pulse of light. Least action is the minimum of energy multiplied by the minimum of time. Therefore, in moving from your present state to the state desired, you must use the minimum of energy and take the shortest possible time. We're reading from this one today, my back to front copy that you guys can see of his completed works. So if we think about that statement about mere assumption and if we think about that statement, fellow Nevillers, mere assumption and how it works out there in the planet upstairs in the sky, which is all within us. Anyway, if you think about a shaft of light being shone, it really is just like a pew. It just gets there. It doesn't say, which way shall I go? Up this way, that way. How do I try to get there? It just gets there. I.e., there's no effort involved whatsoever in that shaft of light. Albeit I understand that we're humans and we like to put effort into things. But as Neville's telling us, it's a mere assumption, i.e. a mental thought, feeling in our mind, in our consciousness, that changes what we want to we've got it. Let's see what else Neville says. Of course, he gives us a dose of reality. This a nice big slap and states the obvious. He says, the day you fully realise the power of assumption, you discover that it works in complete conformity with this principle. It works by means of attention minus effort. Attention, my lovelies. Thus, with least action, through an assumption, you hurry without haste to reach your goal without effort. And then Neville shares a really important part, one I generally forget, and maybe most of us do. He says, because creation is finished, that's the part I forget, what you desire already exists. And if you've had any exposure to Neville's works, you'll know that creation is finished. Anything we could possibly want to be is available to us. It's in here, in our consciousness. Let me continue. It is excluded from view because you can see only the contents of your consciousness. It is the function of an assumption to call back the excluded view and restore full vision. What does he mean by that? Restoring full vision, i.e. it's in us anyway, it's available to us. We have to assume that we can see that full vision, we can see our wish, because it's finished. The only reason we can't see it is because it's excluded from view. But if you go into your imagination and see with the eye of God, which is what our imagination is, you can bring it back, i.e. bring it within yourself, and it will harden into fact. He says, it is not the world but your assumptions that change. An assumption brings the invisible into sight. It is nothing more nor less than seeing with the eye of God, i.e. imagination. For the Lord seeth not as a man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, i.e. our 3D, but the Lord looketh on the heart. And Neville gives us a wonderful description of the heart. The heart is the prime experience. When you look on the heart, you are looking at your assumptions. Assumptions determine your experience. Watch your assumptions with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Assumptions have the power of objective realization, which is why we need to keep our wish top of mind, as opposed to some of the unnoble ideas, thoughts and experiences we've had, as Neville says. Every event in the visible world is the result of an assumption or idea in the unseen world. You think about that. Everything you see out there was once assumed by somebody. So let's replace it with something nicer if we're not seeing what we want. Neville says, the present moment is all important, for it is only in the present moment that our assumptions can be controlled. The future must become the present in your mind if you would wisely operate the law of assumption. The future becomes the present when you imagine that you already are what you will be when your assumption is fulfilled. Be still, least action, and know you are that which you desire to be. I love that line. I use it all the time, especially when doubt and fears arise. It's really easy to go spiraling down. So just remember that line, fellow Nevillers. Be still and know that you are that which you desire to be. That'll get you out of all sorts of pickles you may put yourself in mentally. Now, Neville says a little more. The end of longing should be being. Translate your dream into being. Perpetual construction of future states without the consciousness of already being them, that is, picturing your desire without actually assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, is the fallacy and mirage of mankind. It is simply futile daydreaming, and that's exactly what the coaches and moderators tell us. You have to, what's the word for this? You have to be in your wish fulfilled. You have to be being it, i.e. if you're in lack now and you want to be wealthy, don't keep thinking about your lack. You have to think about the wealth or whatever it is you've imagined, like a big fat pile of money, 10 bank accounts, something like that. Not quite that ridiculous, but you know what I mean. You have to be feeling wealthy, seeing wealth in your imaginal scene, and just imagining wealth. What does that feel like to you? Can you go out to the store and buy 15 pairs of jeans, jackets, shirts, blouses? That's what I would do. Anyway, my lovelies, whatever wealth means to you, that's a feeling